stragglers, there's a few seats up front. So our next talk is Swaroop Yermalkar from Lithium Technologies. Came all the way from Hyderabad to talk about, is your mobile application storing your company secrets? And we definitely appreciate the long travel.
Thanks, Avi. So good afternoon and hello everyone. This is Swaroop. I'm presenting is your mobile application storing your company secrets. Quick disclaimer, all the views are my own and not of the employer. This is quick introduction of me. I work as a senior security engineer in a product-based company where I'm responsible for security of mobile apps, web application, infrastructure, and so many things. Okay, how many of you heard of OWASP? Very few. Okay, so that's the reason I traveled from India to spread this awesome project. Okay, so I'm a project lead for this free and open source project OWASP. I'm a frequent speaker at security conferences, and I already presented paper at many conferences, including AppSecIL, BroCon, SecT, and many others. I'll be also presenting at AppSecIL 2018. If you have a plan to be there, let me know. I'm one of the top 5 researchers at Cobalt. Cobalt is pen testing as a service platform, and they help companies to secure their products. I also do bug bounties and already reported and acknowledged by many top companies for reporting critical issues in the mobile applications. I do talks at free and open source meets. I have taken lots of workshops as well. So NUL and OWASP and other meetups in India, I'm frequent speaker there as well. I hold a couple of certifications, and if you want to tweet about this talk, you can tweet with these handles. And I'm also author of this book, Learning iOS Penetration Testing. It's one of the most popular book on the iOS pen testing. If you really have interest and want to deep dive, this is the book. Okay. So today's agenda is why to care about mobile security and case studies, and so we will see how OWASP will help you to securing your mobile applications. And I know it's a post-lunch session, so I will try my best to make it interactive. I'll be asking many questions in between session. Okay, so before starting session, how many of you are a penetration tester or security engineers? Okay. And how many of you are developers? Yeah, we are both. Yeah, okay, cool. So this talk is for both penetration testers or security engineers, the people who are responsible for securing their products, and also people who develops the mobile applications. The first thing is why to care about the mobile security. So it's very interesting when I speak with many managers or when I speak with the team heads who are leading the mobile security teams, the first response they say that we are taking care of backend. So most of the applications are the hybrid applications where backend is web and front end is your mobile application. So they say we have the tools for CI/CD integration. We are taking care of security of backend. And we don't much bother about the front end, that is your Android code or the Objective-C or Swift, whatever. And today I'll be telling why you should care about that mobile application, how one mistake can lead to the complete compromise of the enterprise. And all these issues are in the mobile application, that is front end code. So if you see, the first thing is your smartphone is everything, right from your financial applications, healthcare applications, social networking applications, gaming, it has everything. Right now you have your smartphone, and which handles all type of data, including financial, healthcare, your personal, and as well, social, everything. And if you see the evaluation of the applications, we used to use the desktop and websites, and now everything has moved to the mobile. And if you see the most of the companies, there more than 50% traffic comes from the mobile applications. And I always use these slides. In last year also I had presented these slides, and still for IoT, any smart devices, right from the smart toilets, light bulbs, everything, your mobile application is is the starting point. When you are pen testing the IoT, it's the first thing you should care of. And there are several problems in mobile application security. Most part of the mobile app is backend, and backend, when I say backend, it's a web API, and there are several tools for that, several automated tools which you can integrate it with your release cycle, and it will automatically perform the security audit of that. But what about your mobile application? So there are very free tools or free utilities for your mobile application, and that's the reason you will find the most of the loopholes in the front-end code. The case study first. So in this year, I had done pen testing of almost 200 plus mobile applications, and I'll be presenting a couple of critical findings I found during these assessments. So the first case study is pounding AWS using iOS application. Okay, how many of you work for AWS security, like responsible for that? Yeah, see, only two, three. Okay. I will tell you, like, just by using mobile app, how I was able to access the AWS account of the company. So first, I downloaded the iOS application from App Store link. It was like black box. I just had a link of App Store. I downloaded the link and I then decrypted the application using Clutch. So all the applications on the App Store are encrypted. They are signed by the Apple. So the first thing you have to do is decryption of the application. And then it's usual that you can also call it as reverse engineering. And then I dump the classes using class dump utility. And I then start all the strings. So all the binary has certain strings. So I dump the strings and then I try to find some references with the AWS. The next time I performed was Hopper disassembler. So you might have heard about the IDA Pro. So it's something like that, but it's for the Mac and iOS binaries. And yeah, definitely it's so it will give you all the details, application workflow, all the strings inside it. It will basically disassemble your binary. So all you have to do is reverse engineer that and just load that binary inside the Hopper, and it will start disassembling the code. And so while disassembling, I found some references to the AWS, and I thought something suspicious or something I can get useful at. And I started dumping all the keywords and greping with the AWS keys, and I found both access key and secret key hard-coded in the iOS binary. So people who are working on AWS, they will get idea of what I'm talking of. So the next thing, okay, I got the keys. I was very happy. I got the AWS keys just by iOS application. I checked what was permission for, because AWS has roles and permission. So the keys I got had a lot more permissions. So I use the AWS CLI. It's a command line utility to interact with AWS. And I was able to list all the IAM users of that enterprise. So let's say company has thousands of employees and who already have an account on the AWS. So I got the keys using iOS application, which were hard-coded. And I'm trying to interact with the AWS CLI, and I was able to dump all the users. I think it's a potential thing of listing all the users of enterprise. Now the key I got had a lot more permission other than the listing the IAM users. So I was also able to launch the EC2 instances. So for proof of concept, I just launched the free tier EC2 instance and showed the POC. And I prepared the report and submitted that. But can you imagine that getting those keys into the wrong hands? The people can launch it for Bitcoin mining. They can just launch hundreds and thousands of EC2 instances over seconds, and it could cost you the millions of dollars as a loss. Yeah, so it was just a mistake by one developer who is developing the iOS application, and how this could impact whole enterprise. And the case study is two, accessing upcoming features that were unreleased. So whenever we get the mobile application, one of the tasks we do is analyzing the local data storage, like if application is storing any sensitive information or like that. So while observing the local data storage, I observed that there was one SQLite database created, and it had some credentials. It was a production app. Again, it was from the App Store. I got the link and I had started looking into that. So in production app, while analyzing the local data storage, I found one SQLite database which had the credentials. I don't know which credential they were. But if I take these credentials and report that company, okay, I found something credentials and consider this as an issue, the company will say we are not interested, because the one thing, it requires a local access. Second thing, everything is in sandbox. So they will ask me how you will exploit that, right? If you are doing the bug bounty, you will know what I'm talking about. So generally such issues are low, or they just don't pay attention. So I didn't report that. So I stayed tuned and I thought, like, can I do something more with the credentials? Can I make these low severity issue into the high one? Okay. So what I did, I kept myself motivated and I started looking at a few other things. So I found references to some endpoints which were not listed there. Okay. So I had two things now. Using local data storage, I had credentials. And the second thing, I found the references to the endpoints which were not listed there. So using the credentials I found, I used that into the endpoints, and I was able to access all their upcoming features. So all the companies, they have the release cycle, like quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and they don't release all the features. Some are in the beta, and some features might be in testing. So I was able to list all the features that were not released. Now just imagine that, getting those features by the competitors. They can just know what your competitor is doing. So with the low severity issue, I made it very high, and the company said, wow, thanks for letting us know. And then I prepared reports, and it was really good. So again, the third case study is WhatsApp vulnerability of account takeover. Now this is not submitted by me. It's one of the very good researcher entries. You can find the link here, the complete write-up, but I'm taking it as a case study. So I think everyone uses WhatsApp here, right? For Messenger, it's one of the most popular messaging app. Now, when you install the WhatsApp application, to validate your authentication, it sends you an OTP, and it asks you to enter that back so you can verify that you owns that particular number, right? So at the first time, they will send you one OTP, and they will ask you, okay, enter this number. So that particular mobile number belongs to you. It's your proof of your identity. So they verify, and that's how it happens. So this researcher, what he did, he entered that number. At the same time, he started the proxy. So Bob Suit is proxy, where you can just analyze request and this response getting sent to server and back. So he started the application at the one side, and he started the proxy, and he was checking all the requests getting sent from the mobile application. And what he observed, that there was some authentication field where the PIN was being sent, the same PIN which you need to verify on the application. So this is the application. What he did, he entered the mobile number, and he said that, okay, send me this verification. At the same time, he kept the proxy on, and he got the PIN. And now you have to enter this PIN, and you will be that user. So now let's say in simple word, I can take any one of your number, I can enter into the WhatsApp, I can keep the interception on, I can get that PIN, I can enter that, and I can own your identity. So that's how simple it was, but this issue is now fixed, but it was in one of the older version of WhatsApp. So that's the reason I wanted to tell this case studies, that why you should pay attention to your mobile application security. Just looking at the backend, like web APIs, will not solve your problem. And if you keep something issue like this in the front end, it can cost you lots of million as a loss. But when I talk about the security and when I discuss about these, there are several problems we face during the especially during the iOS app pen testing. So lack of resources, then iOS keeps changing with each of version. It requires a hardware and a software. Like Android, we can just run on any operating system with the simulator, but it's not the same case with the iOS. You need a MacBook, you need simulator. And for developers also, it's a big hectic fixing the problems, and the focus is more on the enhancement and development. And keeping track of latest vulnerabilities is very difficult for them. And I will tell you what we are doing for this, how we are addressing all these problems, and will help you to secure or learn pen testing of these applications. Many people say me that jailbreaks are gone. There are no jailbreaks. If you see the site, jailbreaks are available till almost 11.2, and they are always, no matter how much Apple is paying attention for the security, the jailbreaks are always available. So jailbreak is nothing but rooting your device. It gives you a lot more permission. It gives you as a root access to your phone. So if you see this website, by the way, this screenshot is from canijailbreak.com. You can visit that, and you can always get that information. So currently the jailbreaks are available almost till 11.3.1. So don't say that like jailbreaks are not available. And so this was a screenshot from iOS 9.3.3, where I can just send you one link. You click on that and your phone will be rooted. So it's not that difficult that you have to use the cable and then you have to use some installation. So if you want to remotely jailbreak someone, what I will do, I will just create some iframe. I can craft one page. I can send you the link and you can just click on that and all gone. The phone will reboot and next time it will boot as a rooted phone. So this was in the iOS 9.3.3. Many people also complained that what you will do, your phone is rooted, but my phone has a PIN code, right? All of us keep the security code. Now there was a vulnerability in iOS 10 in the backup recovery. And so in China, they made this hardware where you can just use these cables, you can attach that to your phone and you can actually brute force a PIN. So no matter which PIN you kept, based on the complexity, it will be cracked, but it might take some time. So I would like to recall the slides. You have the jailbreaks available. You can remotely jailbreak. You can bypass the PIN. Now, don't consider that your application will be exit on the secure environment. When I talk with developers will say, okay, the issue you found requires a rooted access, and we don't consider that. Many of you might face this same thing, but I talk about this like it's possible to root your phone within the seconds. I can just bypass your PIN verification. And so that's the reason when you're developing the mobile applications, you should always consider that it's going to be accessed on the compromised environment, like rooted phone, where application Sandbox Bypass is available, and make sure that your information or data being handled by the application is all secure. And that's the reason I'm presenting this free and open source project, OWASP iGoat. If you haven't checked or heard about it, check this. So OWASP iGoat is a learning tool for your iOS app pen testing and security. So this project is for both developers and at the same time for pen testers. So iGoat is like is a learning tool and is based on the Webboard project where you have all the vulnerabilities in the iOS application. So as I said, I do lots of bug bounty. Whenever I find something critical issue that is not in public, I add this to project so everyone can learn about it. So if you open this project, it will have set of vulnerabilities, everything right from local data storage, cloud challenges, broken crypto challenges, everything at the one place. The best thing about the OWASP iGoat is it's available in both versions, Objective-C and Swift. So as per your development, you can select whichever version you want. And it has currently 25 plus vulnerability, and it is a client server architecture where you can learn the server side vulnerabilities and at the client side as well. And the more about this project, you can find at this link, OWASP iGoat GitHub, on the GitHub link. So this is a quick demo of the project, like how it works, how it will help you. So the first thing is getting this, cloning the code, and I have made the Docker image for the server, so you don't need to set anything. With one click, your server will be up and running, and with one click, your client will be up and running. So this is the Xcode. This is for the iOS development if you haven't used it before. So all you have to do is load this project, click play, and the project will be up and running. So this is the iGoat server, which from where the client will be interacting with the server, and this is the client application. Okay, it started within a second. So all you have to do is load the application and click on the play, and it will run everything. So the best thing is it has all the challenges which we face, right from the cloud misconfiguration. I see most of the enterprises face the key management issue. Like developer ask us like, okay, we should use the encryption, right? We suggest the developer that you should encryption while storing your data. But the next question the developers ask is where to store the encryption key, right? So we are we have also solution for that, like how to handle the encryption keys, what are the possible ways for that. Then we have the challenges for jailbreak detection, SSL pinning, broken cryptography, and lot more. So this is the architecture, or this is the vulnerabilities we are covering. So we have this client, we have the local server to address the issues in the cloud, like S3 misconfiguration and lot more. We have the couple of server hosted in the AWS, and we have also the issues covering the OAuth vulnerabilities, S3 misconfiguration, payment gateway issues, authentication vulnerabilities, and a lot more. So the best thing is, if you want to learn, or if you want to make sure that your developer team learns about it, we have the documentation available, accessible to everyone. So you can just visit this and you can start, or you can deep dive into the iOS application security. So right from the setup and all the vulnerabilities you can find in this link, iGoat documentation. So we have created the CTF-like challenges in the application, so it's not boring like you just click and save the data. For every challenge, it's like CTF. First, you understand the problem, you exploit that, and you verify that you were able to successfully exploit it or not. And the last thing is you will defend that. So I'll be showing one demo of the one exercise. So one of the challenges is insecure data storage, which is like most common in the mobile application. So the challenge is like, by default, you will store the data locally in the plain text, like username and password. So I'm demonstrating how to access the local data storage of the application. So it's just like you check that application directory on the local host and check for the local data storage. And you can see that the credentials are stored in the plain text. And now next thing is how to secure this. So if you open this project, Xcode project, you will see that solution is already here in the commented. So all you have to do is read the solution, uncomment that, and rebuild the project. So you will also learn how to fix particular vulnerability. So it's very useful for developers, because developers don't have to go to Stack Overflow and hundreds of solutions, because when you start blogging, if you start reading the solutions, there could be hundreds of links, and developers might end up confusing like what to do. So here we are providing solution for each of the exercises. So all you have to do is uncomment the code, rebuild, and the project will be executed. Okay, you can also check the data in the keychain. So I have also demo of this. So this is actually the project. It's up and running. Okay, I think. Okay, it's not visible. So the best thing about this project is it can run on all the iDevices. It can run on your iPod, iPad, iPhone, whichever device you have, and you will start learning with it. It's not like it requires the rooted phone only. It can also run on the non-rooted devices. So we have, as I said, that we have one image on the Docker where you can just click on the Docker Compose up and your server will be up and running. And we have one server hosted on the cloud. So if you see that vulnerabilities are a very structured format, it has all the vulnerabilities. And if you are a newbie or even if you're not familiar with the code, you can just open the Xcode. Or if you're a developer, you can just start looking in the issues and the code and the possible fix. So it's helpful for both developers and the pen testers. Yeah, I will be showing a couple of demos like how we can change the application behavior at the runtime, like how we can bypass the client-side validations using the Cycrypt or GDB debuggers. So we have one challenge at runtime analysis. So where there is a bank statement and it will ask you to enter the 4-digit PIN. Now PIN is encrypted and it's not communicating from the server. So Cycrypt is a runtime debugger where you hook the Cycrypt to the process ID of the application. So first I listed what is the process ID and you can see the process ID here. And the next thing is I'm selecting the view controller which is handling this PIN verification. And then I will use a do while loop to brute force that particular PIN. So either you can just look for the local data storage, find the encryption key and decrypt the data, or you can use this runtime hooking method to find the PIN on the air, like on the go. And once you run this command, you can see that the PIN will be shown. Yeah, so PIN string is a variable where you're storing the PIN. And you can print that 1181 is the PIN which we found using the brute force. And you can enter it here. So similarly, you can change the application behavior at the runtime. Like many of the applications I have done in the bug bounties, where you can just bypass the authentication and you can bypass the client-side validations using the runtime analysis. So there are several tools for this. So there are certain challenges on the encryption key management. So as I said, when we say developers to encrypt your key, there are questions like where to store the key, right? So possible ways are, the one is hard-coded keys. The second is random key generation where we generate the key at the runtime. We have key storage at the server side and we have the secure, like different other libraries to store the encryption key. So most of the developers make mistake and they hard code the encryption key. As I said, like how I got the AWS keys in the beginning. So how to use this, how to reverse engineer and how to get those keys. Okay, so this is the hopper I was talking about. So hopper is disassembler. If you haven't used it, use it. It's a freely available. And all you have to do is load that binary into the disassembler and it will start disassembling your code. Now you can see that there's exercise. The question is, why did the code cross the road? And the answer is here. And there's a very nice section, the strings, which will dump all the hard-coded strings in the binary itself. And you can just enter the keywords and it will match the strings from the binary to the keyword you have entered. So I'm just looking for the secrets and I found the answer here in the binary itself. And if you enter the same answer in the challenge, it will be all passed. So using this, you can just, so you can look at the application workflow and so many things using the hopper disassembler. Yeah, to prove it wasn't chicken, I entered this and it says done. The other other solution we recommend to the developers is store the encryption key at the server side. So whenever you want to encrypt the data, you call the key from the server and encrypt that. But it has problems, like if you have the healthcare application where it needs to collect the data from the remote places where there is a very less internet connectivity, you can store the keys on the server side. So because anyone can again intercept your traffic and get the key and can use that for decryption of the data. And again, the key will be same for all the users. So you can see that while intercepting the data, I got this key and I can just enter that key and decrypt the data. So this is also not good option to store your encryption key. So I got the key using the interception and I'm entering it here and it will say me it's correct or not. Yeah, if you click on the verify, it will say success. And the most important, so the solution we recommend is random key generation, where we say that generate the key at the runtime. So you take the parameters as your device ID that is unique. So all the iDevices or all your mobile phone has unique hardware ID. That could be one of your parameter for encryption. And so what will happen is, even if I get your encryption key, it will be same. It will be different for all the users. It will be different for all the users, and you won't be able to decrypt the other users' data. So I have used the UUID class to fetch the device ID, and that will be the one of the parameter for generating the encryption key. So the benefit is the key will be unique for each of the user. It will be generated at the runtime, and even if it gets compromised, it will be useful for only that particular device, and you won't be able to decrypt the other applications, other data on the other devices. Sorry? On the device. Yeah, but so it will be, so you cannot use the same key. Like, so there were cases like one application decrypting all the data. So even if I get access to your device, your key will be different. And you can use multiple parameters to make it complex. You can use a timestamp, you can use device ID. You can use that, but how you will get the timestamps? So let's say I can use the one timestamp, like I just access the application now. I can use that timestamp to as one of the parameter for encryption key. So it's very difficult. It's possible at certain time, but it will make you complex. If you're comparing the other challenges like hard coding keys and others, it will be much more difficult to get your encryption key. Yeah. So similarly, we have attacks on the URL scheme. Like in the mobile applications, they communicate via the URL schemes, which are unique for each of the application. So let's say if you're opening the Twitter URL in your Safari browser, it will ask you that the app is installed. Do you want to open it using the mobile application? And so similarly, if there is no verification on the action, I can just send you one URL and I can make you call to some other number, or I can make to text you to some other numbers. So we have a challenge for that as well. This is the one of the interesting challenge where we have the one window which is asking for credit card number and CVV, and the hint is this cat looking at you. And so the challenge is, so if you start working on the challenge, basically the data is on the S3 bucket and the bucket is misconfigured and you can list the items publicly. So all you have to do is intercept the request and list the S3 bucket. So this is the S3 bucket. And if you can just enter the URL in the browser, you can see that you are able to list all the items in the S3 bucket. And there is one file as well, that is a credit card.zip. So you can enter same in the browser, and you can actually access the other files stored in the S3 bucket. And this is a credit card number. So this is just a challenge. We have tried to make it interesting. We have the other usual attacks, so like injection, the cross-site scripting, and several others. We have the SQL injection as well. Okay, so we have a lot more attacks in the project itself. I would suggest go and explore that. You can find the source code in the GitHub. On the GitHub, there's a documentation. If you have the mobile development, you can just talk about this project with your development teams. This will really help to secure your product, secure your mobile development. You can also contribute to this project. As I said, it's a free and open source. You can work on the documentation. You can help to build the new challenges, or if you found something, you can let us know, and that's how the project will grow. And I would like to tell that we have contributors from all over the world. The team is with the developers, pen testers, security engineers. So we have the combination of all type of challenges. And yeah, so I guess I'm almost done with the talk. If you have any questions, I can take this now. So Android, there are already resources available, so many applications, like DAM vulnerable Android applications, but very limited. There is not much data for iOS. So our focus is only on the iOS as of now. Any more questions? You can also shoot me a message on this ID if you get any more questions. Yeah, thanks everyone.
Swaroop, you want to do a selfie challenge?
Definitely.
Go for it.
Sure.